can have successful is doing the actual lead generation and building that habit, building that muscle. Just like with going to the gym. If you're going consistently, you're going to see the results, right? You go one day here, one day there. You'll see a little bit, but not as much as you would if you're consistent with it, right? Same thing with lead generation. If you're consistently doing activities, making the call, whether it's calls, open houses, social media, mailers, farming, whatever you choose to do for your lead generation, do it and do it consistently, right? And that's when you'll be able to see, okay, cool, I've made X amount of contacts this month. And from that, I now have this many appointments. From these appointments, I am now having this many contracts under, or this many signed contracts and closed escrows, open escrow, closed escrows, right? But if you're not talking to anybody, we're in the business. Cool. So yes, please, 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 heavy on the data successes. Okay, really want to make that happen. Cool. All right, so 4 parts of the objective for designing an action plan. Real estate expert, lead generation, lead follow, and transactions. We're familiar with the 4 different categories that we're working with. Right? Somewhat, a little bit. Okay. All right, so today we begin our lead generation segment. We must find people to work with. These people are known as leads, and they fuel your business's growth in the present and in the future. Leads are responsible for growth potential and protect you against market shifts. Lead generation plus lead follow are our next big segment, our fundamentals of real estate. In this segment, we will explore the who, what, when, where, and why, and how of lead generation. Cool. So the 5 lead generation sessions today. Day 1, generate your leads. Tomorrow, grow your database. Capture leads with open houses. Capture leads with social media, and capture more leads. Cool. You guys are quiet today. I enjoy when people talk to me, so that way I know we are interacting and we are retaining. So let's hear about some successes that you guys have had in the program so far. So what are some successes? What are some things that you came in not knowing but have learned since you started? It's been about a week now. Yeah.
How useful Facebook skill is, finding out or having that I'm a realtor and people and family and stuff. It's an easy way to like out here.
Absolutely. Yeah, especially in today, in this day and age, social media is huge, 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 huge. If you are a realtor that is not utilizing Facebook or Instagram, you want to become one. Literally, even if you're just using it for real estate, right? Like still having that social media presence, because nowadays, when people are looking for a realtor or any type of service, they're going online. Specifically, they're going to Facebook, Instagram, seeing who recommended who. I think Facebook even has like a recommended thingy where you like get recommendations for whatever service. So absolutely start utilizing it. And we'll talk about that too in the success system. But yes.
I think knowing how to approach either calls or people really helped me out this past week as well, and just learning how to talk to clients or potential clients. Bob was a really great asset because just the way he just listening to him was amazing. Conversation and knowing how to like say the little things and change the words and stuff like that, it really helps.
Yeah, absolutely. Script practice. That's one of the key things you should incorporate into your daily activities. Is some type of script practice. I know, just from personal experience, when I first started, I absolutely hated scripts. Like it was not my thing. I didn't want to do it. I felt like you sounded super, super robotic when you did a script. And then I realized going into these conversations, you have to know what you're talking about, right? So scripting is the best way to be able to navigate the conversation and stay in control of the conversation, especially when dealing with clients. So I definitely recommend having script practice on your daily activity list. And then Sam, I can do that.
Yeah, I just want to add on to the social media part that you mentioned. Yeah, social media is definitely like a powerful tool. I was off all types of social media for like a year, almost 2 years. So basically I had to get back on and like gives you a way to like touch base with people that I haven't spoken to in like a year or two. So it definitely, I can see how it helps staying top of mind, you know, coming up on the screen constantly, like, you know, throughout the week or so.
Absolutely, 100%. Staying top of mind, and then also, like you said, with, following up and going back to what we were talking about making calls. It gives you a warm introduction, right? If I see that you just went on vacation to Hawaii, when I pick up the phone and call you, I'm gonna ask about your trip, right? So it makes it a warm conversation as opposed to, hey, how are things? How's business? How's life? It's like, hey, Sam, how's it going, man? I just saw you went to Hawaii, dude. How was everything about going? Makes it easier to have that conversation, right? So absolutely. Anybody else? Any ahas?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I think, one of the instructors you were saying as well, numbers don't lie. And if you're hitting the right numbers and you're calling the right people and doing your contact, it really shows at the end of the month or the day, you're doing your job, you're meeting, like I said, those goals. So I noticed even if you're like, you think you might think like you're calling like 50 people, but really like calling like 10 people. You know what I mean? So I think at the end of the day, you look, you're like, wow, like, I didn't call other people. Like I needed it. Hit the road a little quicker.
Absolutely. And if you think about it, so in real estate, we have this theory that what you do today affects your business 3 months from today, right? And of course, this is not counting any of the people that are raising their hand. Right now, I want to buy, sell, invest, whatever. Those will pop up in volume, right? So like I said, the numbers don't lie. The more people you reach out to and contact, the bigger your database, the quicker that conversion is going to be. If you contact 1,000 people today, somebody in that 1,000 is going to want to buy, sell, or invest, right? And give you the opportunity. So it's all about volume. Keep the numbers high, and especially right now, we're dealing with a shifting market. You have to double the activities, right? So typically you have to call 20 people to get one appointment. Now you have to call 40 people. However, if we don't call anybody, we're never going to know what those numbers, those conversions are, right? So it's a great way to understand what your metrics are, what your conversions are, and how you can then maximize your time in the business. Cool. Awesome. All right, moving right along. I do talk fast, so we might wrap up this day a little bit early. So let's throw that out there, right? If we have participation, if we don't have participation, we have to sit and wait in silence for 30 minutes. We want to do it, and we might do that. Cool. All right, so by the end of this session, you'll be able to generate business from the people you know and who know you. You'll be able to identify your sphere of influence and calculate the potential income opportunity. You'll be able to categorize your sphere of influence and expand your reach. And you'll also be able to apply best practices of lead generation. So to start thinking about what you will learn today, let's consider what questions we might have and what we'd like to learn more about. So find a partner for a couple of minutes, have a conversation about your question and what you'd like to learn more about. Jot your notes down in your participation guide so that it stays top of mind. So what we are going to do instead, I am just going to go around the room and you guys tell me what you want to learn today. Cool. So instead of doing it with a partner, we're just going to make it interactive because chances are what you want to learn, somebody else also wants. All right. Cool. All right. Who wants to tell me what they want?
I have a question.
Yes.
Kind of like a challenge that I'm facing, you know, basically like, when we haven't spoken to like people in like a year or two. How would you overcome the challenge of reaching out to them pretty much out of nowhere and like presenting yourself as a real estate agent and I guess asking for their business?
Gotcha. Very, very great question. Before I answer that, though, we will get into that. So yes, I will answer your question. Because I know that's it's pretty much everyone else's question too, yeah. Like how do you kind of engage in that? Are you guys familiar with the Ford method?
Yeah.
Ford, family, occupation, recreation, dream. So it's a way to tell them you're a realtor without telling them you're a realtor. Right? So when we engage in conversation, it's all about building a relationship. So I'm not calling you to see if you want to buy a house right now. I'm just calling you literally just to check in on you. That's it. If it comes up that I do real estate, awesome. If it doesn't, then cool. So, wanna role play with me?
Sure.
All right, so you're the client, I'll be the agent.
Okay.
Hey,
Hello.
Sam.
Hey, who's this?
Hey, man, this is Carlos Horton. We went to high school together.
Carlos. I haven't heard from you in years. What's going on?
Dude, I know, right, man? How you been? How are things?
I've been good, you know, just getting used to the adult life, trying to figure it out.
Man, same here. How's adult life been treating you?
It's been good, you know, challenges have come up, but we're figuring them out.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. It's definitely, they said adulting would be fun, but to me, It's been pretty brutal, right?
Yeah, it's been interesting.
Yeah.
What are you up to?
Man, same, just navigating this adult life, family's doing good. How about you? How's family been?
Family's doing good, thank God. Everyone's healthy, everyone's working.
Nice.
Good.
What are you doing for work?
Right now I'm a manager at a auto parts shop.
Oh, very cool, man. How you like that?
It's just good. I like it. I've been there for a couple of years now, since high school. It's been fun, learning a lot.
Very cool, man. And then definitely been talking to the family about, possibly getting a new car here in the next few months. So definitely keep in touch with you for sure.
Sure, reach out. What about you? What are you up to these days?
There you go.
Yeah.
Right there, right? It's a natural conversation, natural progression. I asked about how work's going for you. You're immediately gonna ask how work's going for me. Oh, man, it's been great. Actually, I just started this new career in real estate. I'm super excited about it. Been reaching out to some people, trying to get my foot in this real estate market. I'm sure you've heard about the marketing we've been doing at this point, blah, blah, blah. And then we'll start talking about real estate. And then now he is one of my people that I will follow all from. We haven't talked in years, right? Thank you for doing that. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's how you overcome. Right? Literally going through, I asked about the family, I asked about the occupation. Maybe we don't get to the recreation and drink this conversation, but what does that do? That gives me a reason to follow up with him in 3 months. Hey, man, I know we talked about signing about real estate, blah, blah, blah. Now it's not such a cool conversation. It hasn't been 3 years, it's been 3 months since we talked last. And now I'm gonna go into, man, what do you like to do for fun? What hobbies do you have, man? I just moved out here to the LA area. I'm trying to figure out the hobbies. Are you still kickboxing? Are you still whatever it is, right? Now whatever recreations, and then we're talking about drinkers. So it's just a good topic. So now, and while I'm doing this, I'm taking notes. So I'm taking notes in this file, manager of a mechanic shop, family's doing great. Been doing mechanics since he left high school, blah, 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 blah. So now when we talk again, I'm not asking, hey, what do you do for work again? It's like, oh, you still have the shop? Yeah, I got some buddies that need to go and get, whatever fixed and taken by your shop. What's your business address? What happened? Pointing to his business, he's a mechanic, right? So that's a trade service that now I can refer business his way. If I refer business to him, he's gonna do it. Well, exactly. Lead generation. Cool. What other questions you got?
Things that we know in the market, what, how you roll stuff like that, I don't really know much to have. Say, I guess.
So let me ask you, what is going, how is the market?
Couldn't tell you, I had to do research on it. I guess people say, no, they're trying to buy. Some people might say.
So your initial response is not the wrong response, right? So the question was, how do you answer the question of what's going on in the market if you don't know exactly what's going on in the market? And it's not that you don't know, because immediately after you went to, well, you were saying it's hard to buy. So you do have some insight on the market, but just about gaining more knowledge about it and figuring out how that affects the client, right? So typically when people ask me how the market is, I may say, well, typically people ask me that question for one of a few reasons. Either number one, they're interested in buying here and there, you shouldn't want to sell them in the future, or they're just genuinely curious. What is it for you? Then they will tell me, oh yeah, I'm looking to buy, or we're looking to sell here in the future, just want to make sure the price is right, or yeah, I'm just curious. Yeah, now I know how to navigate, right? But to answer your initial question, going online, looking at the trends in the MLS, find out what the trends are. What's it telling you about the market? Chatting with lenders, knowing the interest rates, right? Knowing the different loan programs. The market is going to be different for different people in the sense of what imports, I should say, is going to be different. So if I'm a seller, I'm obviously looking at something different than the buyer. The buyers are super interested about the interest rate and how that's going to affect them being able to qualify for a loan. Where a seller want to know what's selling, what are the days on market, how long are properties sitting, what's the average sell price in the area, things like that, right? So knowing those different types of information are going to be able to help me navigate the conversation better. Make sense? But it all starts being a student and learning, absorbing, subscribing to the different journals that send out the daily updates about the market and the market stats and all that information. And then honestly, being in the business, doing the activities, is going to give you firsthand knowledge of what's going on, seeing the different trends. That hey, properties are sitting with the offer. Hey, I just got a listing that we got, 12 offers on it because it was priced accurately, or because of X, Y, and Z, what have you. So doing that to the number one, and then number two, subtract all these different places that are gonna give you the chat with lenders, things like that, will give you the insight. Cool. Any other questions or objections that you guys face, on that? So let me ask this. And this is a safe space, so you do not have to be in it free. Who is fearful of lead generating because of these questions? Yeah. Very honest. Same. That was me. That absolutely was me. And I know how it is being a new agent, not wanting to engage in conversations or tell people the wrong thing. And the only way that you get better at it is literally by doing it. All of these responses that I've given you guys, yes, scripting, number one, but it also came from me just doing the things and doing the activities, right? And that's how I got more comfortable being able to have these conversations. Now, I don't mind if somebody asks me how the market is, or I don't mind if somebody I call, tell them, hey, man, we haven't talked in years. I don't mind having that conversation because I've had it before. Does that make sense? So the more that you have the conversation, has anybody done any showings yet? Yeah. Any showings, like showing property? No, couple of you have? How many? More than one? So how the first one compared to your last?
Oh, that's better.
Exactly. It's the same with everything else, right? Once you get into a transaction, your first one is going to be super scary, just because everything is so new. Then your second one's gonna be a little bit more comfortable. Your third one, you're like, okay, cool, I'm getting this, like I got it. Your fourth, fifth, sixth, like, okay, cool, I got this, I know exactly what to do. I know we only have 17 days. We saw contingencies. I know what section 29B is, all of these different things, right? Just from repetition. Same thing with cold calls. Bob didn't get to where he's at cold calling day one, right? So it's literally just repetition. So don't have analysis paralysis, meaning don't be afraid to make that initial call, because that initial call is going to then lead to commission. Cool. Awesome. Any other topics that you guys want to cover or myths you want to debunk while going through this lead generation series? No. So my goal for you guys by the end of today is for tomorrow for you guys to be super comfortable coming in, doing the lead generation activities, not being afraid to make calls. And doing things. Right. Sounds good. Simple, right? All right. So first, let's talk about what you already know about lead generation. We did that. All right, my fear of failure was greater than my fear of lead generating. Gary Keller. So let's begin today's discussion with mindset. This quote clarifies that lead generation is job number one. There's fear around doing it. It's the activity along with lead follow-up, which is covered later, keeps us from failing and instead allows us to prosper. You never stop lead generating for the rest of your career and business real estate. Is your fear of failure greater than your fear of lead generating? Live question. Is your fear of failure greater than your fear of lead generating?
Yes.
So we're all in lead generating? Yeah. Okay. We will be. It's all good. We'll get there. Cool. All right, 6 core competencies of a business. You first learned about these 6 core competencies in session 2, yes? We're familiar? Yep. Cool. So lead generation is job number one. Leads fuel your business, helping you reach the goals you have set for yourself. The more leads you have, the more business and success you have. So lead generation includes talking to people about buying and selling real estate daily, capturing accurate contact information. This includes name, phone number, email, home address, and any other information a person is willing to give you, and converting leads to appointments. This is when you find active buyers and sellers, set appointments to meet, and agree to work together in the buying and selling of real estate. In the next 5 days, you will learn a variety of methods to get leads. Did anybody notice that in those topics of lead generation, nothing said calling? Catch that? So a lot of times people fear making the phone call, right? And that's where they stop and they're like, well, I'm not a good cold caller. I don't want to get on the phone. And then they just stop and they're not going to lead generate. Cold calling is not the only way to lead generate. Do you guys know that? Yeah, there's so many different ways that you can be there, so don't let your fear of calling or your not wanting to call be the reason why you don't. Right, there's tons of different methods. You might have to double up on some activities and we'll go through all those methods today. Cool. Any questions? I tend to talk fast, so please stop me if I'm talking too fast and you guys have questions, right? Awesome. It is understandable that there is a lot of fear around lead generating, even though we all know it to be the most important aspect of our business. So let's be honest with ourselves. Who's having any of these thoughts as we dig into lead generation? There's no pressure to raise your hand. We already did that and talked about that. Skip that. Guess what? These are the exact fears that Gary Keller had when he started out in business. You can read all about it and shift on page 52. Cool. All right. And this is what Gary discovered. To erase his limiting thinking, jot these down in your participation guide. Who wants to read the first one for me?
I was confusing effort with enjoyment. Lead generation is actually easy. It's just.
Read that first.
Oh, the first one.
Yes.
I think lead generation is really different.
So that's the myth. The truth is,
I was confusing effort with enjoyment. Lead generation is actually easy. It's just not.
very true. Next one. Yes, the myth,
I don't have time to lead generate.
truth.
I had an issue with making time to lead generate and protecting that time.
Hmm. That one's deep. We'll get into that one. Sure. Next one.
I don't know what to say.
Truth.
I had to get on the path of passion about our life skills needed in this business.
Awesome. And the last one.
I'm afraid of making mistakes. I found that lead generation is nothing more than a set of tasks and skills that are well documented.
Love that. Love that, love that, love that. And finally, he discovered that time on the task over time was the simple secret to his success. To his success. Does that make sense? Time on the task over time. So doing that one activity, spending a lot of time on lead generating over a consistent period of time is the key to success. And all of these, literally, we went over. So I don't think we said time. But we talked about all of this, right? And so all that you have to do is literally prioritize making an effort, prioritize the skill set, which is the script practice. Prioritize getting information so you know what to say, which is the data. And you guys go over that in one of these. All right, and spending time prioritizing the time. And that's going to be the hardest way, in my personal opinion, prioritizing the time. Because now after you go through Ignite, especially, you know how to lead generate. It's just prioritizing the time blocking that off, which is why we switched the time. So 9 to 11 is lead generation time. That's going to be your lead generation time in your regular business, even after Ignite, right? We just model Ignite to be more representative of what you're going to have to be doing. But 9 to 11 is typically lead gen time. That's when most agents do their lead generation, get it done in the morning because nobody likes to do it. Just, nobody likes to do it. It's easy to come in, do your calls, do your prep, whatever it is you have to do for your lead generation. And there's no specific day to do lead generation, right? So if your lead gen days are Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and that's when you're hosting your open houses, cool. Do that, if you're getting 20 leads per open house, 60 leads in a weekend. No one's gonna see that, right? Just following up and contacting after that. Cool. Awesome. All right, so in your participating guide, you guys should see this this graphic. Lead generation is the #1 key to being successful in real estate. It doesn't matter how great you are at selling houses. If no one knows you're in the business of selling houses, and if they do not feel connected to you in a way that has them reach out to you when they're ready to sell, why are you listening? I've got great news though. We already have 2 key components to lead generation: a sphere of influence or SOI and a database. Who here has heard of a sphere of influence or SOI? Cool. What is it? Who wants to talk?
It's your friend group, it's your core.
Absolutely. It's the group of people that you know and who know you. This is the group of people who know, like, and trust you, and therefore they are the people most likely to do business with. How do you access this group? Boom. There's the phone, right? Boom. We are flying right through. it. Love it. Okay, cool. So we're gonna do some basic math. I'm not going to embarrass myself by doing actual math. Okay, right now. So the MRA, the Internet Real Estate Agent book, tells us that we should be converting at a 10-to-1 ratio. So for every, what that means is every 10 contacts in our database, we should be getting at least one piece of business. Make sense? So that being said, and that means that they're on a consistent drip. So we're reaching out to them 36 times over the course of the year for that to happen, for that ratio to be true, right? So if we're looking at the people in our phone, everybody phone, cell phone, or something with you? Somebody shout out how many contacts you got?
Well,
Contacts.
350, 600.
600. Perfect. So we take every 10 on a 10-to-1 ratio, we have all of them in our database. So that would be 60 transactions, multiply that by the under sell price right now, which is. Let's just be conservative and say 900,000, about 22.5 times 60, somebody do that math. And then 250, like 25 transactions, roughly do that math. 22,500 times 60 and. You do that. 36,000. 36,000. Huh? 300.
When you say 22
2,500
times
times 60.
1.3.
So that is the potential commission that you could earn based off of your phone contact. And I say potential because everything's not gonna close, right? I've allowed something that falls out, some people that are a little flaky and you want to buy them, not buy. But roughly, let's say you can get, let's just say half of that. 500,000. Just by some people that are already in your phone. Right, so that's the math of it. So, yes, according to the National Association of Realtors, the typical person moves every 8 years, and according to a 2020 census, the home ownership rate in the US is 64.8%. So we can assume that 64.8% of your database is a homeowner, and they will move every 8 years. This means that about 8.1% of your database will buy, sell, or buy and sell a home every 8 years. So using these numbers, math, boom, round down, 250 people, then it's likely that 20 of them will buy or sell a house this year. Awesome, cool. Does that help paint a picture a little bit for you guys? As to the power that we have literally sitting in our homes already. That we haven't called yet, that we haven't mentioned up to lead generation. All right, cool. Now let's take the number of home sales. Cool. So we've already covered how many people you have in your phone and how many potential sales they represent in the next year. Your contact list is a database. Your social media is another potential database. If we are going to be in a relationship with our contacts in a professional sense, we need to have them organized and accessible in a smart database. Though your phone may be smart, it's unlikely that your database is yet. Today, we will touch a bit on feeding your database. In the next session, we will cover how to make your database smart. You have an SOI, a database, and you've been generating leads from that database by communicating with them strategically. How have we already been lead generating in this class? What tool or system have we been using? Yes. Has anybody been doing the success system? Did you guys go over the success system in the first lessons? No? Okay. No problem. We're gonna go over the success system today. Cool. Ahas. What are some ahas about being the lead generation for your business? And how might you shift your mindset to overcome your fears about the lead generation process? What have we overcome so far?
I guess. You win.
Yeah.
You just gotta do it.
Absolutely. What else?
Consistent.
Absolutely, that's it. Just do it and stay consistent. Every day is not gonna be a knock out of the park. Every day is not gonna be, that's okay. Consistency, time on the task over time. Cool. The path to self-mastery takes time, learning new habits and skills takes time, so take the time to acknowledge the journey you are on and celebrate the small wins. So, love that. All right. Now that you've already begun lead generating, you have a database and an SOI. So let's dig into the most important model in your business. That's the lead generation model. Lead generation, you will hear this over and over and over and over again throughout your career. It is really the most important activity. It's the first thing you need to know to start your real estate business, and it's the last thing you will give up doing yourself if you decide to start a team and leverage your business to the point that you're no longer involved in the day-to-day running of it. So think about that. What we're learning today is the foundation for a million, multi-million dollar, and even $1 billion business. This is also why your time each day completing your daily success system along with your peers and facilitator is so important. So if you look in your participant guide, you guys should have the lead generation and database model. You guys have this? Yeah, awesome. So as you learn, Keller Williams has a model for literally everything. It makes sense that there would be a model for your number one job, lead generation. Though it may look complicated, it's about one thing, relationships. You're in the relationship business. The more relationships you have, the more business you have. This model tells us how to get into a relationship with people, stay in a relationship with them, and be their real estate expert of choice to buy and sell real estate. Cool. All right, lead generation is simply getting people into your database so you can track your relationship with them. As you can see at the top of the model, there are two different activities that can bring leads into your business, prospecting and marketing. You can never have too many leads. A lot of leads or a quantity of leads gives you good quality. Does that make sense? So, I'm sure you guys have heard this term, like, oh, this is a bad lead, right? Not true. There's no such thing as a bad lead. A lead is a lead is a lead, right? Whether they are looking to buy and sell right now or looking to buy and sell later on down the line. That's your job as the agent to be able to qualify them and see where they're at in the process and to stay in contact and build a relationship with them. If they reach out, especially if they reach out to you. If they reach out to you, they're interested in at some level or another. Right? It's your job to decipher what level that is and how you then market to them and speak to them. Because each level is going to be different. Somebody raises their hand, hey, I'm ready to buy, sell right now, versus somebody, hey, I'm ready to buy in 6 months from now. Conversation is going to be a little bit different. And are you going to be doing the business in 6 months? They're going to meet that person, right? Cool. All right. So turn to the prospecting versus marketing page in your participant guide. Are we in? Yep. Awesome. So it is a best practice to generate leads through a prospecting-based marketing enhanced approach. Prospecting is proactive and direct. You are actively searching for leads. Prospecting is low cost to no cost method. It yields a quantity of leads, which in turn gives you a quality of leads. Establishes personal relationships, keeps you in direct contact with the market of the moment, increases your confidence and skill. And with marketing, you're putting your information out there to attract leads through sources like social media or print ads, radio ads, promotional materials, etc. We'll talk a bit more about this in some of our other sessions as well. Does everybody get that being prospecting based marketing enhanced? So you want to start your business by prospecting. A lot of times we get so caught up in, oh, I need, brand new signs, and I need, super flashy business card, and killer listing presentation, and buyer's presentation. Who are we showing it to? Exactly, we don't have limits, right? So prospecting based, your first order of business to get out there and get people. Cool, we can do farming, that's great, that's awesome. Sitting out mailers, awesome. Now, coming off, like, send out those mailers on Monday, I'm good for the week. Oh, no. Prospect, right? So prospecting based enhance it with the marketing. So all of your social media and your flyers, all that other stuff, all the things that have your picture on it, marketing stuff. Prospecting is you actually doing activities, posting the open house, doing the door knocking, doing the FISBOs, expires, for sale by owners, all that fun stuff. Prospecting base, that's the basic foundation of your lead generation. Enhance it with the marketing flash stuff. Cool beans. And it's also, like I said, for me, the biggest thing is the no cost. Like, I would rather do the free activity versus the paid activity any day. I'm really cheap. So that's just me. Just me. Cool. So the market, your preferences, your budget and your goals will usually dictate the types of lead generation you employ. Top agents track their most productive lead sources, which usually are sphere of influence, repeat business, referrals, and offline advertising, direct mail, yard signs, etc. No single approach or method will bring you all the leads you need to reach your goals. A blended approach works best. No matter your approach, you should always be offering some form of value in exchange for information. That information is what you need to continue the relationship. Also, though you won't rely on a single source of lead generation, you also aren't going to do all of them, not doing all of the activities. The most productive agents focus on their 3 to 5 top producing lead sources. In Ignite, we're going to focus mainly on prospecting because we know successful lead generation is prospecting based. Prospecting is also less expensive, and prospecting is what protects your business when the market slows down. Even more specifically, we'll focus on prospecting with your SOI. So literally your sphere of influence is what we're going to focus on prospecting. As you gather people's information through prospecting or marketing, or have generated the lead, the next step is to put that information into your database. A database is simply a container that holds the information for all the leads you have generated. If you're looking for a cost-efficient tool to build out your smart database, Keller Williams has you covered. What do we use here? Exactly. Man is more than a database. With this platform, you have access to interconnected tools to support you from lead to close, all while maintaining your relationships. A smart database provides you with the ability to have planned and meaningful communication with those in it, which keeps you in relationship. We can think of your smart database as a data bank because it generates money. There's nothing more valuable to your business than your data bank. Sense? Do you guys already know that? All right, so we use the terminology of leads and contacts to categorize people in our database. So far in your success system time, you've been communicating with your sphere of influence or SOI, people you know and who know you. These people are contacts with whom you have implicit permission to have two-way conversations. Leads are people who have shown interest in the service that you offer and have provided a way for you to contact them. However, they have not yet engaged in a two-way conversation with you. What are some examples of leads that you guys can think of?
I was thinking that the shear at the grocery store.
Yeah, very good. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Anybody who have kids? All of your kids' friends' parents? Those are all leads. Teachers are all leads. Here they say people who follow you on social media, people who meet at open houses, people in your neighborhood. But thinking outside of us, anybody's kids play sports? If not, I would enroll all of my kids in sports because that and be a team parent because boom, there you go. That's a whole database right there, a whole new sphere of influence, right? That you can market to and you can chat with. I would give out what is it? They give out like orange slices and prep stuff and games. Business part on that. Get it out to the kids and then come to the parents, right? Like there's so many different avenues that you can employ. I mean, you may go to the dentist. How people the dentist. Those are all potential leads, right? Doctors' visits, mechanics, Anybody that does a service, you might call out an exterminator or a plumber to come and do a service at the house. Set up a business to business relationship. Hey, I'll send all my clients your way to use your plumbing, tree trimming, whatever service. You send your clients my way, they're looking to buy, sell, or invest.
But I think,
Yeah.
but I think for what you're saying in the whole the morning, they were talking, like simple stuff like to wear the name tag here, I'm a realtor, or a shirt with Kelly Williams name and everything, and everywhere you go, I mean, you might find someone who's gonna push you, and now that you're saying that, for the people that have kids, when you think about it more now.
100%.
I don't know a lot of kids' parents, their friends' parents, or the places where I will live with kids. So, yeah, I think,
Absolutely, and marketing around that, right? Like, okay, cool, I have kids, I don't know their parents, but you know what? Let's set up a play. Chuck E. Cheese, yeah, Chuck E. Cheese out here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, let's set up a play date, we're gonna do Chuck E. Cheese, tell my kid, invite, 10 of your friends, someone bring their parents, they'll come here, buy the pizza. I don't know how much kid stuff is nowadays, $100, $50, I don't know. Spin it, and then boom, you have all these parents here, and now you can talk to them, go to relationship, like, yeah, you never wanted to go to Chuck E. Cheese for a while, you can lie, okay. You could bang and go to Chuck E. Cheese, right there, you might as well. Yeah, so it's with real estate, that I just haven't had time to think about, like, have it already put in my schedule, like, oh, you do real estate. You're like, gotcha, and there you go, right, so now you have all these people. So things like that, Lloyd, I think you're gonna ask something.
I guess it's more of a comment, I've noticed in the last, week doing the leads in the morning is that I'm going a lot to voicemail.
Mhm.
And most of these people in my own contact list, I find it'd be better if I call them like after 5. Because they're more inclined to pick up, because they're home. They've, changed, they've relaxed, settled down, it's called, I'll answer the phone because that's literally, because I've had a text messages, hey, sorry, I missed your call, I was working. Sorry, I missed your call, I was working. Oh, great to hear from you, let's connect later, when I'm home, or I'm out of town or something like that. So it's just an observation that I made, because the lead generating doesn't work, I feel. It's just that with my closer network, or even people that I haven't really talked to in a while. It seems like that works better in the afternoon, later in the afternoon after they get.
Yeah, absolutely, that's a great observation, and it comes from doing the activity, so now that you've observed that, now it's like, okay, well, how do I pivot my strategy, right? Me personally, I'm gonna be super transparent, I'm not calling anybody at 5. Not because I don't want the business, but because that's my family time.
Yeah.
I spend all day at work, this is my time to disconnect, I don't have any kids. And I have a dog that needs my attention, and I just want to decompress and relax. So I pivot. So if they're more responsive to text messages, maybe that's how I'm gonna approach these clients and shoot them a text. Hey, how's it going? Just checking in with you. How's life? How are things? Blah, blah, blah. Texting is totally fine. That is lead generation, right? And if they're gonna respond to a text message over a phone call, I'm gonna text you all day. It's totally fine. Automate it. Twilio, put it in your time block, put it in your calendar. I'm texting all my text clients from 9 to 11. And then, maybe from 3 to 5 is when I'm calling people, who are a little more receptive, or maybe I'm calling them at noon on their lunchtime. When I get a quick second to chit chat about things, whatever it is. I mean, that question.
I was gonna actually say that, so I'm not, my network texting works.
That's right.
Nobody checks those.
Seems to be the new norm.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like picking up the phone. I mean, even people now, they're like, oh, yeah.
I call my mom and have her check, and I'm like, what are you? It's just like, oh,
I expect the mom to answer, but not.
she sent me a voice note, let me text her. She was watching the show. Yes.
I was just gonna point also say, like, if that happens, you might call people. But it's easy. And you get the voicemail, but then they answer you whatever way. Technically, you're still having a conversation, right? So you're still putting yourself out there. And
100%.
it's not a fail.
Right.
Okay.
There's no such thing as a fail.
Yeah.
Like, the only failure is not doing that, right? Even if you're sitting there, if I'm consistently, so, for example, in my email right now, I have 30 emails from Black Angus. I have not opened a single one, but I know exactly when they email me, and I know I have all those emails. And next time I go to Black Angus, I know somewhere in my email, there's gonna be a coupon. For their do for two, because that's what I'm gonna do, because I'm cheap. Okay. Same thing with being agents, right? If we're consistently reaching out to the clients and to the people, they know that you're there and they hear you. They may not engage and respond, so it's not, they don't consider it a fail. They're still there, and they know you're there. It's just not the right time for them, right? I'm not looking right now, but when I am, I know I have Lizette in my email. Right, I know I have an email from Carlos somewhere that I can find that he sent me some type of value from or other, right? So it's all about, once again, I'm on task over time, texting, emails, phone calls, open houses, whatever, social media posts. There's people that have a really big social media following from literally being consistent. Every Monday I'm posting a market update video. People are going to rely on it. They may not be live with me when I'm doing it. And they know when they get home Monday night, they're gonna go and watch that market update video that I posted, or if they have a question about the market. Oh, you know what? Carlos did the video every Monday. Let me go look. Right? Just the consistency. But cool. And you guys can totally have that check and choose idea for free. It's fun. Cool. I'm trying to see, because this is very, very repetitive. And I think we're talking about. Cool. we can do this, all right. So look to the type of lead generation touches in your participant guide. Each time you reach out to a person in your database, that communication is called a touch. A purposely planned series of touches is called a campaign. A coordinated campaign of touches over time puts you front and center in people's minds when they think of real estate. These touches are how we nurture and strengthen our relationships. Having someone in your database doesn't make them your client. Reaching out to them consistently and systematically with value and deepening your relationship will lead them to choose to be your client. One way to consistently and systematically reach out to your database is through automated touches. Within Command, you have access to Smart Plan and opportunities. These tools provide you with the option to automate your emails, text messages, and even set up notifications to remind you to call your leads and contacts. Did everybody catch that? Everybody in your database is not a client. Everybody that reaches out is not a client. You become a client once you have an actual relationship with them. And it is very important to early on in your career to learn the difference between that, so that when you know how to manage your time. So that I spent tons of time with leads and with contacts, thinking they were clients, all to get burned. Did not have an actual relationship. Legitimately show this guy over 30 properties and then he goes. Let's talk about it next time. It's horrible. So yes, be able to differentiate the two. Make sense? Yeah. Awesome. All right.
May I ask you why you didn't have that person do a virus?
Yeah, and this is a very fair question. It was early in my career. And I was under the impression that it wasn't necessary. Thinking that, yeah, I could have them on a buyers. And my philosophy at the time was very different on buyers contracts. I didn't think it was important. I was like, wow, we've seen so many houses together. We're great. It's good. We're solid. And it took me getting burned like that to be like, okay, everybody wants. And just to drive it home, the buyer doesn't having to work. If you decide, and no one can avoid that contract, I personally don't want to work with somebody that doesn't. You tell me you don't want to work in fine, cool. We work with the contract, you go your way, I go mine. And I don't even think he ended up actually buying. It was just for opinions. He didn't really know what he wanted. I didn't do a thorough buyer's consultation with him. To really get to know exactly what you want, you want to follow and have that next time. And so, yeah. We need to phone us, please.
I just want to follow up question then. I don't want to get off on a tangent, from the topic, but, in that case, we could have somebody that's like not willing to really sign a buyer's agreement. They might, I've had conversations with open houses, I says, I've talked to other agents, I've met other people, I haven't signed a buyer's agreement with anyone. It's kind of like whoever can bring me, the house of my wife and my dreams, gets the sale, kind of thing. So they might be talking to a lot of people saying the exact same thing, several times.
Absolutely, and Mr. Buyer, absolutely understood that. One thing that I would like to say in my business is top of the line service. So when I'm working with the client, it's an exclusive relationship. You can count on me to go above and beyond to ensure that you get the home of your dreams. We do all of stages to have access to the same properties. So I will be able to get that same property that any other agents want to be with you. The one thing that I can guarantee you that they're not guaranteeing you is that we are in an exclusive relationship. Meaning I'm working directly for you. And this buyer representation agreement just solidifies that. It's like you're getting a phone carrier. You have an exclusive service with this company, and you wouldn't expect AT&T to be billing you when you're working. It's the same thing. It just makes our relationship exclusive and keeps us bound to one another. I can guarantee that I'm going to give you top line service, and I'm just guaranteeing that you're working with me exclusively for me to be able to give you the best service possible.
Big mouthful.
It is. And hashtag scripted, right? And you can tailor it to be as short or as long as you want it to be. It's totally up to you. And some people would prefer a long answer, some people would prefer short. It all just depends on who you're talking to and the relationship you have with that person. And how you want to come on. So for example, if we're talking at an open house and I have 15 other people walking around and this guy's like, oh no, I'm not signing a buyer's representation agreement. You know what, I definitely understand that, sir. I do offer my services exclusively, so it is something that I require. I totally understand if you don't want to do that, that's cool. Doesn't mean we're gonna work together. You can't expect me to be answering your phone call at 9 o'clock at night for this property that you want to schedule a showing for immediately when you got everything that I'm doing when you have 4 other agents that you're working with, right? Because then I drop everything I'm doing, we go out, we show the property, and you write an offer with Jimmy over here for that same property, and you didn't sign my buyer's representation. Now I'm just stuck. And they're like, oh, well, Jimmy said he can do this with the contract. Like, dude, I can do the same thing with buyers. Right? We're the experts. So it's really just about positioning. So it all depends on how you want that, how that conversation can navigate it. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, definitely. I think having that buyer's consultation, is the most important part. That can go that.
Yeah, and one thing I do tell clients when I do have them sign the agreement, this does not mean that we have to work together forever. So if you decide at any point that my level of service is not meeting your standards, I do ask for the opportunity to have a conversation around it. And if we decide that this isn't the best relationship, absolutely no hard feelings. I wouldn't want to hold you somewhere that you don't want to be. And I'm not going to force somebody to work.
Offer to do that in writing and like an addendum, right? It says like this is in the buyer's agreement, contract, that this is here, I'm stating it. I'm also sending it to you in an email that says this is what we're doing.
I believe it's also in the actual rep agreement itself that it can be.
It's not a lot of agents, I would imagine, want to have that kind of conversation. They wouldn't want somebody in for 6 months, whether they're doing 110% on it, on or not. So.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And then you really have to ask yourself what kind of agent is that wants to lock money in the contract for that long. Yes, for a listing, 6-month time frame to sell a property. And I've had 5 of my before not to put myself refuse not to be upfront about it, right? So it's me. And you define your own business standards. So if you don't want to do buyer's agreements, totally fine, don't do it. But again, work you to, right? It's a good form of practice and you do what is best for you. However you want to phrase it, whatever addendums you want to write, whatever clauses you want to put in there. Do you both? It's all to you. Cool. All right. The final piece of the model is the client and referral loop. Once the lead is converted to a contact, they can provide either new or repeat business, or they can provide referrals. Why do you think this part of the model is referred to as a?
You need that repeat business.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So, yes, you're right on track. As soon as you close a transaction, that person doesn't just go off and disappear. Like, keep the business going, right? Keep reaching out, keep providing the value. That's the point of the 3610. Keep on touching on it. Keep. Here's a happy holiday. The other address, here's a happy holidays card. And having this pumpkin pie giveaway, come to the office, leave your reviews, continue touching them. So that way, when they do think of somebody, they're gonna go the business. I had a client, I thought the transaction was a complete trainer. I didn't know that we got along as well as she thought we did. And I was really like glad to be done with the transaction. And then a couple months later, it was about a year later, honestly. She's like, hey Carlos, like I have this referral, this is one of my friends, like she does work with you, and I'm like, oh, we hated each other. Like, what in the world? And yeah, and so I ended up listing my lady's property, her friend's property. And then after that, she reached out to me again, and I think Carlos, I'm thinking of selling here in the near future, would love you to be my agent again. Oh, you really like me. Here, I thought we were beefing, and you really actually like me, so I'll say, keep the loop going. Cool. All right. As you nurture your leads and contacts and continue to lead generate from new sources of business, you will either be transacting from new, repeat, and or referral business. The most important thing to remember is that the lead generation is something that number one, you never ends. Two, should be time blocked daily for the best result. And three, determines the size of your business, and essentially it is that how that will help you reach the goals for starting this career. In our last section today, we are going to discuss time blocking for lead generation. Any ahas in this section? From the lead generation model. No, you guys know this already. Cool. Question. Let me ask you a question. Looking at these topics, what are some things that y'all want to talk about? I want to make sure that this is intact for you, and I don't want to give you anything you already have. So what topic of these lessons, your sphere of influence, expanding your SOI, lead gen best practices, do y'all want to spend the most time? And we can really just do like a deep dive into that one.
Best lead gen practices.
But
We don't have an idea of what lead gen is, but like what are the best, most effective lead gen practices? Because there are so many.
Yeah. Cool. Anyone else have any options?
If I may just quickly interject, had the opportunity to do an open house on Sunday. One of the more effective lead gen practices that I experienced so far in this last 2.5 months was creating a flyer in command for the open house, with the date, property details of the listing and all of my information on that. And then started to physically door knock, in my neighborhood. So I was able to reconnect with neighbors that I haven't talked to, either, because, people have fallen out of communication like during the pandemic, right? And so you see a lot of people that are walking dogs, you still know who they are, or their dogs mostly, So that being said, people kind of like, oh, wow, yeah, I know who you are, or I live on such and such block, always starting that conversation, I'm your neighbor, and I was ringing lots of doorbells and getting people looking through the glass. They're like, what do you want? What do you need? I'm like, I'm your neighbor, and so then they think you might need something because maybe, like my car needs a jumper or something like that.
Yeah.
You open the door, I go, and I wasn't trying to sell them anything right away. I just said, hey, I'm Lloyd, I'm your neighbor. I live 2 blocks away. I live half block away. I live 3 blocks away. And I'm holding a flyer and said, I'm just hosting an open house, 1/4 mile down the street. And I'm like, my neighbors know, so I'm also saying hi, that was it. And I really wasn't trying to take their names or information. Once I didn't know it all, they were like happy to take it. They were not being rude. Other ones that I did know, semi-know, or kind of was semi-familiar with, they were very communicative, so it was a lot easier than you thought, so I would recommend that, especially if it's in your own neighborhood.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a full open house system. And there's also the playbook that has a full open house system on how to run a successful open house. And there's tons of steps. A lot of people would tend to think it's just showing up to the open house and following the day. But no, you have to actually work leading up to it, right? So literally Monday, finding your open house, Tuesday, getting it all listed in the MLS and getting the flyers going. Wednesday, you're doing all your social media campaigns, marketing, all that fun stuff. Thursday, I'd be door knocking the neighborhood, in that specific area, introducing yourself, dropping off the flyers. Friday, circle prospecting, so literally calling the neighborhood. Hey, dropped off a flyer yesterday, or vice versa. You can call them, say, hey, I'm coming around. If you're doing the cold calling on Thursday instead of Friday, hey, I'm calling around. You know, house this weekend, I'm gonna be by tomorrow, drop off flyers, invitation, blah, 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 however you want to do it, and then host a killer open house, right? And you're gonna get a ton more traffic. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't want the neighbors just like coming by. No, you want the neighbors, because you want people in the area that can speak to your work and they see what you're doing. You get to literally show them how you list property and how your property is sold without being in an actual agreement with them, right? And then they reach out to you like, hey, I saw what you did for, you know, Rick over here. Would love for you to list my property also. And there you go. Right. So yes, there's tons of different strategies to employ when you're doing open houses. Cool. So we can jump to best practices. This is kind of going back to what we talked about earlier. When we covered this, your sphere of influence, categorizing your influence, all the different sphere or different areas that you can find. And we talked about a little bit before, using your kids as leverage for sphere of influence, past coworkers, hobby sporting groups, teachers, worship club, volunteer, professional services, all that fun stuff, building your sphere of influence. Literally, you want to be building your sphere of influence. Has anybody been through their economic model yet? No. So the economic model breaks down, your net income, whatever you want to make in real estate. Breaks all the way down to how many appointments you need to have per week. From that, you take the number of appointments you need to the people in your database. So that will tell you how many people you need to have in your database to then get your appointment goal. Make sense how those tie in together? So the database model that we just went through will tie into your economic model to show you how many people you need to get in a relationship with. So the point I'm making is that will tell you how many people you need to be adding to your database consistently per week. So there's a specific number of leads that you need to be getting minimum per week to then hit your goal. So if you say I want to be a millionaire by the end of the year, great. Let's work it backwards and see how many people you need to be in a relationship with and how many times you need to touch them and talk to them over the course of the next X amount of months to then get that net income GCF. Cool. Makes sense. Well, and if you need a economic model or anything, come see me. I can show you where to find that. And then there was cool. But bold law. Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at will change. Right? The same thing with lead generation, changing your mindset of lead generation, change your actual generation. Cool. Flying with it, so we can get to the next. Expanding your SOI, add more personal information to your SOI contacts. Everybody seen in command, you have that contact health score. Yeah, try to get that to 100%. The more information you have on that contact, the more you can do with that contact. You can send them birthday cards, you can shout them out on social media, you can send them neighborhood nurture smart plans, and automate a lot of the stuff. All those smart plans can be automated. To where you don't even have to do anything. That's how you leverage your time. If you have a database of 1,000 people, you cannot literally go in and manually text all the people all at once, right? You automate it. Cool. Perfect. Expand your SOI. Just ask. Just ask. Very simple. Ask to be in a relationship. Talk to people. Don't be a secret agent. Strengthen casual connection, so that's what we were talking about, building relationships with the kids' friends, or kids' first parents, not kids. But their parents, right? Teachers, doctors, mechanics, dentists. Strengthen those relationships, you casually are walking by and meeting them. Go a little bit deeper, actually follow up, you say, oh, we need to catch up, actually catch up with them, right? Join groups that will connect you with people with similar interests and values. There was a lady that literally built a multi-million-dollar business off of literally hosting a tennis tournament. She loved tennis and she built her whole sphere of influence around people coming out and playing tennis. So you absolutely can do that, right? So pick whatever you're already good at, whatever you like doing, motorcycles, sports, cars, whatever it is, knitting, build a community around that. And it doesn't have to just be about real estate. So if you have a knitting group, it's not, hey, knitters for real estate. It's like, oh, like we're actually knitting because we enjoy this, right? Build those relationships. Oh yeah, by the way, I do real estate, but my main focus here is knitting. Like we can talk about real estate Monday through Friday. This is what I do on the weekends, right? Build those relationships, build those connections, all the things that you already like. Cool. And then referrals. Constantly ask. People don't get referrals because they don't ask for referrals and they're not a part of the referral networks. So join as many referral networks as you can and be present. Be active. Have referral partners in different places. Advertise to your clients in your database. Hey, I don't care where you guys are moving. Let me know. I have people everywhere. I tell all my friends, wherever you're at in the world, I have relationships and connections all across the country. Let me know. I can get you a great realtor. First. Gather leads for mutual influence. I am building my business on people I know and the people they know. Do you know of anyone from family or friends, work your neighborhood or group belong to who's thinking of buying, selling a home or investing in real estate? I'd be pleased to be a resource for them. Exactly how that script works. If you hear of someone with a real estate need, will you keep me in mind and let me know? Perfect.
Once you get it,
Yeah. And then in your manual, the very end of your manual, you guys should all have the conversations or yes, it's called something to spark something or other. But it's the script index, so it should have all of the scripts in there.
Where would those be?
It's in your participant manual all the way at the back. Yep, so it's the last thing at the back. Cool, so lead generation best practices. All right, as you begin your real estate career, there are some best practices that will help you establish a productive lead generation system. The best lead generation program will be one that you will be consistent with that also delivers leads. Keep track of where your leads are coming from. Audit your lead sources to determine what your top lead sources are. It is best practice to focus on your top 3 to 5. I would say your top 3 for now, and then expand to 5 once you have the leverage to do so. The most important thing is building your system and your follow-up. So I would focus on your top 3 lead generation sources, and with those will be whatever you're going to do consistently. Obviously, as new agents, you're not going to know what your top producing activities are yet because you haven't done the activities. So it would be just what 3 you want to be consistent at, and then maximizing those systems. Once those systems are running and they're automated and you're doing it without fail and you're consistent with it, boom, let me pull the trigger on a 4th one. Now that all 4 are up and running consistently, boom, let me pull the trigger on a 5th one. That's when we're getting to point of growing our business, but we don't want to start off with 5 first and not execute it. Right, make sense? Cool. Diversify your database. And openness to a diverse client base opens opportunities. Diversifying your database today brings more leads today and exponential future growth. Diversity is not one thing. For example, race diversity. Diversity is what makes each of us unique. It is about our cultural backgrounds, experiences, personalities, and beliefs. It includes race, nationality, gender, physical and mental ability, spiritual and religious beliefs, class, sexual orientation, and more. A diverse database and sphere of influence, SOI, prepares your business for changes in the market. The broader and more inclusive your client pool, the more ready you will be for changes from demographic shifts to new trends in the real estate industry. Be consistent and lead generate every day. How often do you think they want y'all to lead generate? Exactly. And these are the best practices. So time block your lead generation time. There's one additional best practice that is time blocking your lead generation time and protecting that time block. So what are some ways that you believe would be a good way to prioritize and to protect your lead generation time? Yeah, that's one way, put it on your calendar. Who else?
Schedule a time and then work on it, like how, find out what we have.
Cool. How are we gonna protect that time? So let's say we have it scheduled 9 to 11, Monday through Friday. But there's a class going on at 10, what do we do?
Starting.
Huh?
Starting.
That's one way, yeah. So let's say we have it and we move it to 8 o'clock. And we have a friend or a family member that's like, hey, can we go to such and such at 8?
You know,
Yeah.
You know, it's-
So the whole point of protecting your lead generation time, especially as an independent contractor, there are going to be things that come up during your lead generation time, right? And as far as protecting it, it's your job to say no. Right? It's just like a regular job. If you're working at Starbucks and your shift is from 9 to 3, you can't walk out in the middle, right? You have to fulfill your obligation. It's the same thing with your lead generation. It's a job. You have to treat it as a job. When I'm doing my lead generation time, I can't be interrupted. I can't go and do anything else because this is my one thing. This is what I have to focus on because this is what's going to propel my business. I have to do my lead generation. I'm not doing my buyer's consultation at that time. I am not answering emails at that time. I am not chatting with friends. I'm not taking personal calls. I'm literally solely focused on my lead generation activities. Make sense? So same thing with this. That is how you protect your lead generation time and being unapologetic about it. It's not, oh, you know, I'm sorry, I'll make an exception. This is my lead generation time. I got it. I have to work. Love you. And I have to work right now. If you guys notice on my door, I have signs on my door.
Yeah.
When I'm doing my lead generation time, I'm doing my one thing. It doesn't mean I don't want to talk to you. It doesn't mean I don't want to help you. It doesn't mean I hate you. I just have to do the one thing. And then at a specific time, I have another sign. When I have open office hours for you to come in, interrupt me. I'm not doing anything important. Feel free, come on in. I've already done my one thing. So yes, protecting your time block. So it's great having it on your calendar, being able to see it visually, but the best practice in that one is literally protecting your time block. Whether you have to isolate yourself and do it somewhere where you're not distracted, easily distracted, and whatever it is you have to do. There was a story that I heard about an agent who was just really, really bad about protecting his lead generation time and building his bunker. So he had an assistant, and what he would do, he would go in his office and his assistant would ask for his pants, and he would literally take out his pants, put it out the door. The assistant would take the pants, and he could not have his pants back until he was done with his lead generation. So he literally had to stay in his office and do his legion until his time was up, and he gets his pants back and well, go right on out. Have fun. But whatever you have to do, they call it building your bunker. And in Gary Keller's book, the one thing they discuss building your bunker, whatever you need. Get your snacks, get your water, get your bathroom breaks out of the way. Whatever you need to do, soundproof the room, do it in an isolated area, whatever it is you need to do to be able to protect your lead generation time is what you gotta do. All right, makes sense? Oh, right there. Little
Yeah.
marker.
Yeah.
Look at that. Yes, leave your hands down without a doubt, no competition, your number one most important thing to do. Build a buffer, find somewhere to work that takes you out of the path of disruption and interruption. Where will you work to avoid distraction? So start figuring these things out now, where you're gonna work to avoid distraction. I know we have lead generation in here, in the mornings, and that's great for some people, maybe you have to go and do it over there, maybe you have to sit up at a cubicle and do your lead generation. Maybe you have to be in the car, I don't care where you do the generation, just make sure it's getting done consistently. Right? Store provisions, have supplies, materials, snacks, beverages you need on hand to avoid leaving your buffer. What provisions will you have in place? What food, water, etc. Sweep for minds. This means anything that will distract you or take your focus away. So something that I've done, so I turned off all of my phone notifications during my Legion time. Because literally every time my phone's like ding, 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 it's just constant and it's a distraction, right? And it's like, oh, let me just answer this really quickly, and then next thing you know, you've been answering emails for 20 minutes, and one email leads to another email, leads to a text message, leads to a phone call. So turning off those notifications, shutting down your email, closing the tabs, those little window tabs, closing out the tabs, exit your internet browser. So what distractions, what provisions do you need to put in place to limit your distractions? Maybe you share an office and you're like, you know what, for my Legion time, I cannot be in this office with you, and I'm gonna do my calls with whoever. Right? So putting those things in place. Enlist support. Tell others, tell those most likely to seek you out what you're doing and when you will be. That's why I made the sign on the door and it said on there when I'm available. Right? So let people know, like, hey, I'm not ignoring you, and I will get back to you at this time. So that way I will know, and that way they know that they're still a priority, and it's just, this is my one thing right now. For this, or we can talk tech, we can talk shop, whatever you want to talk about. But not right now, I don't know. Cool, thanks. Cool, so as we wrap up this learning session and transition to our success system, which I will go over with you guys, we'll do that tomorrow. We talked about a lot, what you're already doing to lead generate. What can you guys add, or what are some things you're going to add to your daily routine, and how important time blocking for focused lead generation is? So let me ask, how is everybody's mindset right now about lead generation? A little bit more open than in the beginning? Show of hands. Yeah. Cool. What are your questions or concerns, if any, about lead generation that we didn't cover today? Nothing. This is a safe space, remember, so I'm not gonna talk about you guys on the TL group chat. That. Nothing?
I have a question.
Yeah.
You always talk about one kind of database, which is like your leads, contacts, everything. Every city has their own development plans, like you never know, Torrance may have in 5 years, they're gonna build, I'm just assuming, data somewhere. How can we get those information, collect them in an old different kind of database, so if anyone is looking, so we can entice them, you know what the Torrance city is gonna happen in 5 years. Because we're talking about the people who are gonna buy a house for next 8 years, 10 years. So they would be interested to know what's gonna happen in the city I'm gonna move. So how can we get those databases from? Do we have to, I mean, is there any consortium, is there any one place, or we have to go city councils or?
So I think terminology is important. So it's not a database that you're getting. You're looking for just information on specific plan developments, right? So that you can get from the city. That wouldn't be a database. It would just be going on the city website and seeing what developments they have planned out. I'm not sure how far in advance they do that, but that would be, you know, your own research that you would do as far as finding out different things that would entice people to move to the city. Let's say for me, for example, I wanted to base my prospecting solely on the local beaches and how convenient it is to the beach. That's something that I would need to research and find out that niche of people that are interested in beachfront property or close proximity to the beaches. And then maybe I work that into my marketing, my newsletter. We're talking about how close the beaches or whatever, what have you. So yeah, it's just gaining information on how you communicate with clients. But as far as the database, that would be the actual like clients and.
It's more like information, right?
Yeah, so you're looking at information. Yeah, you get
Due diligence.
planner, all those people. will have it. Any other questions or concerns? No, everybody pretty good on lead generation, everybody excited to take on lead generation? And when I say excited, I mean, let's just be real, nobody's excited about calls, like, I'm not, I have to go make calls right now, right after this, and I'm not excited about it. And what I am excited about is the opportunity that it is. And having a plan for it. I do not plan to be a cold caller or a recruiter my entire life. Just being super honest. And don't worry, I've already told the bigger bosses this to say no, so they're telling me. But yeah, I'm not a fan of cold calls. It's not my thing. And so my goal with me doing cold calls right now is to get to a point to where I'm so good at it and I'm bringing in a consistent amount of people to where I can now leverage it. Right now, I can hire an ISA to make my calls for me. And I just want to, same thing with your business, right? When you grow your team, you're like, oh, I'm bringing in so much business consistently. I've earned the right to no longer have to dial in. And so now I have an ISA who I'm going to train and they are going to dial for me. That is their sole focus on somebody that is really, really good with calls. Maybe at that point you hire somebody like Bob who doesn't like cold calling, right? So pick whatever lead gen strategy you want to do and you want to maximize and get super, super, super good at it, right? And just do it at a high level. Your open houses, awesome. What's your open house strategy look like? If your social media, cool. What does that strategy look like? What's your follow up for these people? If I give you a buyer lead right now, what do you do? If I give you a listing lead right now, what do? You have all those steps in place, so, right? What does your day look like in real estate? You're an independent contractor, yes. What's your schedule? What days are you coming into the office? How long are you staying in the office? What activities are you doing while you're here? Don't just show up to the office, say, went to the office today, check. What are we doing in the office, right? What time are we generating? What time are we doing our follow-up? What time are we doing our business development? What time are we taking classes? Right? So build your schedule. See what that looks like and be consistent about it. Cool. If I'm at the office Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, cool. What time and what time? When and when? Okay, cool. I'm there from 9 to 4. What am I doing from 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12, 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. Plan it out. So that way you know what you're doing. You come in and be super. Cool. All right, daily success system. So the daily success system is what you guys are to be doing during that lead generation time in the morning with Bob. This is found in your participation guide, and it literally breaks down the activity that you're to be doing. So 10 conversations, 10 contacts added to your database, 10 handwritten notes, and then your social media 10, 5, 1. So that is 10 likes or reactions, 5 comments, and then 1 post or share. And this is all per day. And what these activities are going to do, the social media one specifically, is going to get you in that algorithm. So where now your content is popping up on these people's feed. If you're leaving comments on people's posts, your content is now going to pop up at the top of their feed. Does that make sense? So when they're scrolling through, they're going to see you because you guys have interacted. Even if it's just you leaving a comment, right? And then what's going to happen when they see you leaving a comment and you're posting, they're going to comment on your stuff. Or that you share something, other people are going to share it, right? So it's all about getting into that algorithm to where now when you post a video on social media, you post a market update, you're maximizing the amount of people that are going to see your content, right? The 10 conversations, so the 10 conversations, 10 contacts added, and 10 handwritten notes. This is touching your database. So having those conversations with your people. Everybody has, I'm sure, more than 200 people in their database at least, right? Or in their phone contacts. 10 conversations per day. Asking them for a referral. Hey, who do you know that I need to be in contact with? Doesn't mean that they want to buy right now, but who do you know that would benefit from this information? Or would benefit from any aspect of real estate, whether they want to get licensed, whether they're looking to buy, looking to sell, looking to invest, curious about the market stat. Maybe that's your conversation that you're having with your client, like, hey, I would love to send you this neighborhood snapshot of what's going on in your neighborhood, what's your address, boom, boom, boom. Here you go, I'm sending that to you right now. Who else do you think would benefit or be curious to know what's going on in their specific market? Right? Getting those additional contacts. And if you do an open house over the weekend and you get 50 contacts that day, there's your contacts for the week, you're done. Make sense? And then handwritten notes. The people that you're having a conversation with, write them a note. A handwritten note goes a long way. It really makes people feel seen. The fact that you took the time to actually write something out to them, it helps solidify that relationship and gets you into that agent-client relationship a lot quicker by the simplest touches. Cool. And then enrichments. So enrichments are any additional learning. I personally recommend reading the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. It's a huge asset. And it really breaks down your business and what you should be doing. That's a good read. The one thing also is a really good read. And literally you're just reading a couple of pages a day, couple chapters a day, depending on how many chapters are. But using that to enhance the learning, really treat this boot camp and these next 15 sessions as your jump start, right? Just be hyper focused for these next 15 sessions. Build the habits. That's why Ignite is 20 seconds to build the habit. So that way, after Ignite, after you graduate, does everybody know the requirements to graduate Ignite? Awesome. They went over those. Does anybody not know? Oh, so it's 10 opportunities in command. It is 1 contract signed, whether it is a listing agreement or a buyer's representation agreement. It is 200 contracts in command, 201 plus contract in command, and all those contracts have to be on a smart. Whatever smart plan you decide to have a smart plan. Cool. Everybody know already? Awesome. So yes, and then so figure out what you want to add on. So whether it's a book that you're reading, a different activity that you're doing, whatever it is, something to enrich the experience. Cool. Any questions for me? No? Comments, concerns about anything in general? About Ignite in general? About the process? Yes, sir.
To graduate, you said that it could be a listing.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, listing agreement is one contract at least. The reason behind that is we want to be able to measure the effectiveness of Ignite. If we're consistently doing Ignite and nobody is producing after they take Ignite, like, okay, we've got to change something. And if we come through Ignite, you guys are learning useful skills and you're absorbing everything, and you're actually implementing it in your business, and you guys come in with 11 contracts, like boom, Ignite works. And now Carlos has ground to stand on when I go and like argue with people like, hey, no, we keep doing Ignite. And they're like, no, that's what it's outdated. And I'm like, really, because I just had 11 contracts from our last Ignite settlement. And then I get to talk shit, which I like to do. So
Numbers don't lie.
exactly, numbers don't lie, so help me help you. Cool, awesome. Well, thank you all so much. Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate it.
If you need anything, let me know. I am going to personally make sure we have. Cool. Awesome. You are welcome, folks.